As a head of the urban division, you're an A&R as well.
Yeah.
What makes a great A&R?
It's a good question, man, and a number of things. Good ears, being able to know what sounds good. And when I say good, that means like quality, in a certain instance, what an audience wants. So sometimes it's not actually good, but people want to hear it, so you get involved.
Do you compromise then?
Not necessarily. Like, it depends on what your goals are. If you're there to kind of sell records and serve an audience, then like you might not necessarily work with everything you listen to. Most of the stuff that I work with, I'll still listen to at home and I'll enjoy. But sometimes as an A&R, like you see a gap in the market, or it's a business, so you're trying to fill a gap, serve an audience, make money for yourself and the company, so you do things for that reason. And there's that element of A&R. But if you're talking about artists and stuff with depth and things that you're proud of, then you've got to have a good sense of vision.
Yes,
like
vision
even if it, again, the opposite of what I just described is an A&R that sees something that's not even there, and something, because in music you're essentially like providing something that isn't. It's not on paper what people need to survive. People don't need music, so you have to earn the right to get their attention. So as an A&R, you've got to find reasons to get people's attention, whether it's an artist, a special, or a song that's going to interrupt someone's day, or a voice that makes you feel something you've never felt before. So you've got to be someone who can hunt that and provide it for people.
And why did you want to work? Why did you want it to work for a label?
I didn't, to be fair.
It just chose you.
Kind of, like, yeah, I suppose, like, it's particularly like majors. I didn't really want to work for a major label, but Island Records has like a special history, from Bob Marley to Grace Jones, U2. And then at the time, I was, the project that I started, because I didn't start as a full-time employee, I started as a consultant. And the first project was an artist called Tinchy Strider.
Tinchy, yeah.
Yeah, and we grew up in the same area, and I knew of him, so I felt an extra reason to kind of get involved. And then like just became like a full-time member, then marketing and A&R, then urban division, then yeah.
How I got a question.
Yeah.
Did your parents understand what you were doing when you were younger?
No, Ghanaian parents. I was supposed to be a doctor,
a doctor, banker. A lawyer.
Yeah,
or
but
the next Kofi Annan.
Yeah, exactly. I think because it clashes in it, like in terms of, especially where we grew up with like music and stuff. You don't see. It's quite difficult to see the fruits of it, innit? So like, and literally sometimes when we did pirate radio, we was climbing out of the house.
Yeah.
So it's like climbing out like a criminal. No matter what you're doing, your parents aren't going to be excited. I'm going to study, honestly.
It's a struggle.
Say that again?
It's the struggle as well.
Yeah, it's the battle, and it's what you're around and what your passion is. But I did do a degree though, so that kept them happy. Like education was like testy at times, and I just about got through college, and then I thought, let me just go and do this uni thing after working. And then I loved it, actually, marketing, because I worked as a marketeer at Island Records first, and I really enjoyed it. So I suppose then it starts to make sense when they're starting to see like qualifications. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I'm glad I did that, actually.
As music lovers, we used to always look up to everything that happened in the States.
Yeah.
But do you find that there's enough happening right now in the UK?
Yeah.
Is the UK more exciting than the States at the moment?
For me?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? It's like what's happening in the States is amazing, like, and it always is. And talent isn't sort of kept in boundaries around the world. But for me, coming from the UK, like people are telling stories and talking about places and things that I really relate to. And I think it's the same. Like I've been traveling around Europe recently, and the same in Germany and France have been that way for a long time. I think it's about locality and people hearing stuff and their language and the nuances that they're used to. And I think, you know, even here in Holland with like the guys at Top Notch do a great job of really looking after the records that come out here. And I feel like that's happening around the world. There's a real sense of pride in Africa.
Is there a collaboration that you guys are doing with Island Records and Top Notch?
Yeah, I mean, they're a great label here, and we've yet to kind of get into a project, but we're continuing to talk, and that will come in time, no doubt. I mean, I feel like they're smashing it here, so there's a lot to learn from them. And I think for me, coming into the market, they're the best people, like they're G's experts.
Talking about the British urban scene, what makes the British urban scene so special?
I think going back into history, like Britain as a country, like from Windrush to when like various different countries came, some out of choice, some got conned into coming, but that's a whole nother conversation. There's a real mix of cultures. Like in the UK, you can like, you can't help but have listened to reggae and pop music and dance music and garage and like just growing up anywhere, particularly in London. So I think there's a real rich like heritage and people borrow from different sounds. I don't think you could have had Craig David, Amy Winehouse, Adele, Sam Smith, like, and I talk about Ed Sheeran, these global artists. I don't think you would have had, they would have made the same music if they grew up in another place. Like when you talk about Ed, who's one of the top 5 artists in the world, he came up, I remember seeing him at shows where it was a bunch of grime artists and he was like rapping on his guitar, and I think all of that fed his creativity and made him what he is. I don't think there are many places like the UK in terms of creativity. Yeah.
You said that you're not trying to sign people, but you're trying to build businesses.
I am. Yeah, always, man. I think that's important. I think the infrastructure around art is just as important as the art, or people that should see it and hear it and feel it won't.
But why then would you need labels to invest in your craft? Because you said that labels are like investors now, or in the near future, labels will be investors.
Labels have always been investors, like, because it's like they're investing, even if like they invest in me and give me a wage to go and find talent, so that's investment. And I feel like, that will happen even more. But I think a lot of stuff happens outside the labels, and it's about labels investing in that, like whether it be like amazing managers or labels or creatives. Like even like I was saying about the film and Lizzie and other things that Ireland are brave enough to kind of invest in and be a part of. It's about, ultimately, for me, it always has a connection to the music because we're a record company, but it's about really amplifying art. So I think as long as the motivation is right, like, let the money go there.
But talking about Instagram, if an artist just slides in your DM, do you respond?
Sometimes. It's not like the craziest thing to do. It's just like it's just like being busy, and like, again, it's like you sign an artist and you commit to them, like gigs, Dizzee, Mira May, Donae'o. Like I wouldn't be doing my job if I was distracted by too much new stuff. I think I owe it to them to focus on that at the time, and then there's periods where you're looking for new music and new things. So the long and short, but it's not like always the best way, but why not? Sometimes you're kind of scrolling, you've got time or something catches your eye, but I think the challenge, and every artist should work out how they get people's attention, because everyone from Drake to someone trying to slide in the DMs is aiming for people's attention. So I think it's like either getting it or maintaining it. So it's how you do that. Like, do you say something funny? Do you send a picture? I don't know.
And Alex, you're 35 years old right now, and you've come a far way. What's your biggest highlight till now?
In music?
In music.
There's been lots, man. It's a good question. I always remember when I first started at Ireland and Tinchy Strider went to #1, because he came up like from the same place I did, and then I remember going up to Scotland and seeing like girls fainting when they saw him. Tinchy, like 5'2". I'm thinking, like, how's that happening? And that was just like, okay, rah, people care about what we're doing. That was crazy.
What kind of impact had that? What kind of impact gave that to you?
That made me feel like there's a career in this, and it's traveling, and like it was quite inspiring to see people that I didn't think cared about what we did moved by it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, okay, right, there's a career. So he needs me because I'm helping make that happen. So that makes you feel like, okay, I've got a career. Let me find the next one. Let me make this even bigger. Blah, 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 blah.
And what would you say would be your biggest mistake in your career till now?
Well, that's another good question. Damn, son.
I need honest answers.
I haven't really dwelled on them. I caught up with, and there was an artist that I worked with called Nick Brewer. And we put out a single with him and BB Borelli, and it did really well. And then, and I saw him on Sunday, and we talked about it actually. And then the next move, we was like, a few of us were like, yeah, let's go for a really big pop single, like just trying. And that was like a mistake. I should have just kept it authentic, and that just is always in the back of my mind when trying to kind of push someone to another level. Like, so that was a mistake. I don't know if it was the biggest, but it's definitely one that helps define what I do at the moment. I think authenticity is key. And just, again, like, and the good thing is I've been able to kind of maintain relationships with people, whether or not, you know, you sign someone, you don't sign them, you work, and then you learn. So I think that's important. Yeah.
So what's your dot on the horizon? Where do you want to grow to?
I'm not necessarily long-term ambitious. I'm more about the things that are in front of me. And they'll guide what happens down the line. I never planned to have a job at a label, and the passion for the things in front of me helped that happen. So, like, I'm not that fast. I feel like God will take it wherever. It's those things in front of me that I need to be passionate about. Me being passionate about a dream that I can't see yet is great, but I think that people that I'm kind of working with need me to care about them first and what happens with them, and then that's always helped the next thing happen.
So, Alex, what are the do's and don'ts, especially the don'ts when you're approaching Alex Boateng? Just the don'ts. I need like 3 pointers.
Just be nice. That's always good.
Be nice.
Yeah.
It's not like, yo, prick, listen to my shit.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
Okay.
Make sure what you do is good. That's the main thing, actually, because it's like, whether or not you get the attention in the first conversation or down the line, like, it will come. Like, you'll hear it. There's enough people that I've had... I won't even name the songs and artists, but I've had people that have hit me in their DMs and then they've actually literally, like, sold a lot of records.
Yeah.
And I've looked back and I've been like, damn, like, do you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, respect, because you achieved what you wanted to achieve. I would have loved to be involved, but at the same time, it's like, at least you know that what you're doing, you reached that. And then the third thing, just like, I don't actually mind people being persistent, to be fair. Like, I don't mean persistent as in like outside your house, like, morning, it's breakfast. But like, just, if you're going to email, you might miss the first one, send another one, it's cool. Do you know what I mean? It's an email, innit? It's only like phone. I'm not bugged by that.
No, I understand.
Some people are annoyed by like multiple, but I just scroll past.
You're just doing you.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out the ADE Beats podcast at Spotify and iTunes for the whole conversation. Or check out beats.nl to find all the information about the upcoming ADE Beats event. You can find both links in the description of the video.